Out of the blue, Rashee Rice has pled guilty to 2 third-degree felony charges. We all expected potential suspension, and the legal run out was going to happen after this season, after the 2025 NFL season, but that is not what is going to happen. So what do we do with Rashee Rice? What do we do with the Kansas City Chiefs? And our best ball drafts, are we cooked? Our second round Rashee Rice teams cooked. We're going to get into all that, and we're going to take advantage of DraftKings Best Ball Week with their ticket giveaway here today and pop in a couple Millie Maker drafts. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
OM Godlike says he's on time today. Unfortunately, Erik was not on time today, 2 minutes late. I apologize for that. Ran into a draft with some other streamers. Tikasora says DK Millie 9 draft marathon stream. Do it. I don't think I could do that. I mean, I know that I could physically do it, but I'm not sure that I could emotionally do the nine draft stream in a row. GM Shuby, GM Mac. Let's get this money. Sizzle. Good morning, Marie. And apparently you still draft Rice in the second in the six drafts. I've done. OMG says Santino GM. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. All of that fun stuff. It's not so happy. It's not such a G. The G part of GM is maybe not so good today if you've been drafting Rashee Rice in the second round, or frankly, even those third round teams felt awfully good for quite a while, and not feeling so great anymore. If you missed it, I'm sure that you haven't. If you're here and you've been drafting best ball teams like a total best ball sicko like we have, and you're concerned about your Rashee Rice bags, or you're here to victory lap the fact that you weren't drafting Rashee Rice, whatever you want to do, the world is your oyster here at Spike Week. We're going to dig into it here in just a second. What I did want to say is we're going to do 2 quick housekeeping notes. One, I posted on the tweet when I shared this that we were going to do drafters and DraftKings today. I had not looked yet at the DraftKings promo for today. So we are going to do 2 DK Millie Maker drafts. If you have not went and checked that out over on DraftKings, go to DraftKings.com, go to your promos, and there will be, you have to opt in to the promo. But for every 3 Millie Maker drafts you do today, they give you 1 for free. So you draft 9, you get 3 for free. They can be slow drafts if you would prefer it. But we're going to do a couple fast drafts here today to help all of us work towards accomplishing that promo. Also, I mentioned the other day that we are giving away free tickets today. It's Free Ticket Friday. I got everybody's name. We'll do this again next week, by the way. So be on the lookout. Next Wednesday's show, we'll start this over again. So if you left a comment on one of the 2 videos on Wednesday or Thursday here on the channel, I have your name. You have been entered to win one of 3. We're giving away today's 3 Friday. Apparently it's a Friday of 3s. So we here at Spike Week, I'm going to give away 3 tickets to the Drafters main event. I'll do that at the very end. So I apologize if you leave a comment right now. I won't be able to catch it. We'll count it for next week. So catching up on that's going to happen at the end of the show today. First, we're going to talk about Rashee Rice because it's not great, Bob. So first, you might be thinking, dang, was I really like taking on all of this risk with Rashee Rice? And like, was I being stupid? Like what? No, you weren't. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. There's plenty of other things you can blame yourself for in the world than not having an idea that this was coming. Like, think about it. All of the air quotes legal experts have been telling us for months, frankly, that this is down the line. Whatever is going to happen in the legal process is going to be down the line, which means what the legal process still hasn't played out. the NFL suspension stuff is not going to play out. If they hadn't suspended him yet, they were not going to do it randomly now. I think that was all correct. I think that the process behind that was fine. I think that the process behind targeting Rashee Rice in pre-draft contests and up until now was a totally fine process. So we always have to make sure to separate our process from our results. If you were out on Rashee Rice, that also doesn't make your process wrong. I'm just saying that this weird legal situation that has now played out was not something that I think anyone should feel worried about whether they factored this into, because it came completely out of the blue. And what happened is that he pled guilty to 2 charges. And let's share the old screen here. Let's just pull up the NFL.com report. So first of all, he was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation. Rashee Rice. That's not great. But if you read the tea leaves or you talk to some people who understand some of the legal process a little bit better than the average person, this is probably a pretty sweetheart deal for a professional athlete. Quite frankly, those 30 days in jail, he can serve at any time over the course of his 5-year probation. So it's not like he's going to jail today, or going to jail that's not happening. That he basically gets to decide, right, when those 30 days, and so it will be, probably after the season, or after one of the upcoming seasons, he will do those 30 days. He's 5 years probation. It says, the judge will allow Rice to find a time or times to serve the jail sentence. So, but it's a big deal because he pled guilty to 2 third-degree felonies. Like someone was seriously injured in his whatever we want to call it, not reckless driving, right? But he was driving exorbitantly fast. Someone got injured, seriously injured, and so this is a pretty big deal. Obviously, like in real life, someone was seriously physically harmed. That's a very big deal. It was an incredibly stupid, idiotic act by Rashee Rice, and you're seeing the punishment. This is like the easy punishment. If he's a normal Joe Schmo, he probably gets far, far worse than this. But I think he took why it came out of nowhere. If you want me to put my tinfoil hat on or whatever, is he's guilty of these charges, and they offered a plea. They offered him something along, right? I've watched enough Law and Order SVU and Law and Order to figure these things out, right? We're all experts because we've watched every episode of Law and Order. They offered a plea, and he was like, well, it's this, or let this thing play out after the season and actually go to prison for certainly more than 30 days because he was guilty. And so would you rather risk going to prison and almost assuredly go to prison, or just take this plea and deal with the suspension now? I understand the idea from our fantasy lens to say like, oh, well, does this mean his knee isn't healthy and all that kind of stuff? Technically, any of that is possible. I think that's quite a leap. And being too fantasy brained, I think the guy's trying to avoid going to prison like you or I would. And so this plea was offered. He took it because it was offered right now, and it probably would not be offered forever. And thus the legal system, has played out. The legal process has played out earlier than we expected. And so with all that being said, the real, thing that we're here to figure out, because the end of the day, we've signed up for drafting bad human beings in fantasy football, and we don't need to relitigate all of that. But what is the suspension going to look like? Admittedly, I'm not an NFL suspension expert. You can go back and try to look at different similar situations, precedents, what have you. I think the NFL doesn't frankly operate that way, so I'm not sure that it even makes sense. Like, God bless the NFL, just a total shit show. I think that they kind of fly by the seat of their pants in these types of situations as well. And so I cannot say how long I think the suspension is going to be for Rashee Rice. I think it's almost certain now. It's a 99% certainty that he's getting suspended here in the next couple of weeks. and it will, of course, be for this season. So that's the huge change for us as drafters. We have to adjust and figure out what to do with all these guys because it's a pretty much a foregone conclusion that he's going to be suspended for this year. How long? I'm honestly not sure that it matters that much for our purposes. Now, 2 games versus 6 games versus 8 games is definitely matters, but the crux of it is I think 2 games would be shocking, quite frankly, and I think 8 would be a little shocking. So I'm if you want my completely uninformed guess, it's a total guess. We're all guessing, right? If you want my guess and compare my guess to other people's guesses, I'm gonna say 4 to 6, somewhere in the 4 to 6 range. I think seems the most logical based on everything that we've seen play out in the NFL over our lives, over my 37 years watching the NFL and following the NFL. I would say 4 to 6 seems like the most likely scenario. And so, again, 2 versus 4 or 4 versus 6 for our purposes. Sure, it's 2 extra games that we don't have Rashee Rice. But if you believed in him as a second round player, and the market sure did, believed in him as a second line at 3.5 or maybe 4.5. Yeah, it's either 3.5 or quid pro quo says set the line at 3.5. 3.5 or 4.5. I can't decide what I would set the line at. No, I gave my tinfoil hat take, and Nolan says mega tinfoil hat take. He's going to want to perform well in fantasy so the inmates aren't angry at him for tanking their teams, or so that the inmates want him on their prison league team, like the longest yard. You know, it's gonna be a longest yard situation with with Rashee Rice. We shouldn't make light of it, but that's very funny. So let's just assume, right? So where I'm coming at it from here, let's just assume 4 to 6 games, just for the sake of discussion. That's not ultimately a huge deal for us in best ball. Why? Is because those are the least important weeks of the entire best ball calendar, even from within the regular season. So let me take a step back. It's wildly different where you draft Rashee Rice in a playoff format tournament, like Best Ball Mania, like the DraftKings Millie Maker, like we're about to do, in a cumulative scoring format, like the Marathon, like Drafters, like Fast Draft. Where Rashee Rice goes on those is wildly different because if he gets 4 games or 6 games or 8 games, every single one of those games counts the same as the playoff weeks, right? Most of you guys probably know that, but it's very important that we reiterate that. This conversation is going to be largely geared towards the DraftKings Millie Maker and Best Ball Mania and, the puppies and all that kind of stuff. But the tanking of the Rashee Rice ranking in the cumulative scoring formats is going to be much steeper and should be much steeper because if you miss 6 games out of 17 and all of them count the same, that's a huge deal. When you miss 6 games out of 14 regular season weeks, not as big of a deal. I can maneuver my way through the regular season and find a way to still advance, right? In Best Ball Mania, 2 out of 12 in the DraftKings Millie, 2 out of the 12 original teams from your draft, your original pod advance to the playoffs. So even if you have Rashee Rice, you have there's still an open spot, right? So let me take a step back. Even if you have Rashee Rice, there's 2 open spots for you to maneuver your way through. That's okay, right? 1 and 6 get out of there. I'll kind of take my chances. Other guys are going to have dead spots too. I can take my dead spot, and at least I know when he comes back in week 7 or week 5 or week 9 or whatever. At least I know when he comes back, I'm getting a star. And if you did have concerns about the knee injury, you're getting a little, you're getting that extra time for his knee. So he should certainly be fully healthy if he isn't already. And again, in cumulative, very, very big difference because those weeks matter the same. In the playoff formats, Best Ball Mania, DraftKings Millie, remember that not only is it just missed games, you don't take a 0 during those weeks. So let's say, foreshadowing a little bit, I'm moving right now Rashee Rice to about the 4 or 5 turn. in my rankings. There's a tier, specifically there's a tier of wide receiver. Devontae Smith, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, those guys that I'm going to move him. I'm going to move him after that. So foreshadowing. So let's just say that's where you end up taking him. Like I'm going to take him in the early 5th or so because I've already got some good wide receivers. The first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, you have your full stable of players, right? That's the time when you kind of like your late round picks, like if they're hitting your lineup, it's probably a bad thing because everybody's healthy, nobody's on bye, and you can kind of weather the storm a little bit more in those first 4 to 6 weeks. Now, once the buys start kicking in, once injuries start piling up, and you have a dude suspended, it can get a little bit tricky. That's why like 8 weeks is a little more catastrophic in say Best Ball Mania or the DraftKings Millie than 4 to 6. But either way, in the first month of the season, it sucks to not have the guy, but it's not the end of the world. You can plan around, right? So instead of taking, I like to take some shots on later round wide receivers that are a little more late season bets, contingent value bets, or we just like our rookies, our Luther Burdens and our Trey Harrises and those types of guys. Maybe on the Rashee teams, we avoid those guys. We avoid maybe Chris Godwin. We avoid maybe Rashid Shaheed, right? We avoid maybe those guys. There's ways around this whole Rashee situation in these formats. So in those weeks when I have my full stable and I can plan for the fact I'm not going to have him during those 4 to 6 weeks, he's probably still going to be a target for me, depending upon where he lands. Now, it's only been a day. We've not seen the full fall that is Rashee Rice. I'm not drafting him right now. But I think if we get to that spot, the 4-5-ish turn, that tier of wide receiver is gone for me. I'm going to be willing to dive in to Rice at that point. Again, assuming something like a 4 to 6 week suspension, assuming the playoff format, and assuming that I can build my team around the fact that I know he's going to be suspended, and I'll be just fine for a month. I'll be just fine. All I got to do is sneak into the top 2, advance, and now I got Rashee Rice with a month extra fresh legs heading into the fantasy playoffs. For the rest of the Chiefs, I had been slowly really starting to come around to attacking Patrick Mahomes. This does hurt Patrick Mahomes. Again, in cumulative and on drafters in the marathon, it's the same thing. It hurts him a lot more there than it does for underdog and such. They could lose a couple extra games and then we get a more motivated, pass-heavy Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense for the fantasy playoffs. It does ding him a little bit overall in all formats, Patrick Mahomes, but he's still going to be a target for me at these current prices, though it's a slight ding for Patrick Mahomes. Xavier Worthy, again, in cumulative, these things are like big deals. Let's do that. In cumulative, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown, Jalen Royals all get nice bumps. Who gets the biggest bumps for me? It actually starts at the back, and we move the cheaper guys up more. In cumulative, the cheaper guys rise a lot more. Xavier Worthy does rise as well. Travis Kelce probably rises the least, and I think someone might question that because they'll say, doesn't Kelce kind of take some of the types of targets that Rashee Rice underneath slot, right, check down, second read, all that kind of stuff type targets? Yes and no. Worthy took some of those. Hollywood took some of those, and I think Jalen Royals can take some of those. Cases will ask about Juju. I think Juju's going to play. We don't have to like that, but Juju is going to play, and he's still undraftable for fantasy. But it really, I have almost zero Hollywood Brown, specifically on the cumulative formats. I'm going to take a little dabble of Hollywood Brown now, and in the playoff formats, like maybe a dabble of Hollywood Brown, but I don't think it changed. I think if anything, it may be Hollywood Brown is like you could pair him with Rashee to help you get through that first month type of a situation, but it doesn't make me excited to target him. Travis Kelce is still ultimately the same bet. And again, from the playoff perspective, Kelce might start better this year and then fade at the end, and that's not ultimately what we want from a top 100 pick, especially at a tight end position when I'm only drafting a couple of those guys. I wanted to note, I would be remiss if I didn't at least call out my boy, the guy who I'm by far the most excited to discuss and to draft, and it is Jalen Royals. He was listed here, as you see, as one of my favorite deep rookie sleepers. So this was pre Rashee Rice. I've been drafting a bunch of Jalen Royals. Luckily, this is a knock on wood. I do have some solid Rashee Rice bags, which don't look so great. But I've been drafting a bunch of Jalen Royals. Shout out to me for getting lucky with this one. But I think if you go through, this is free on go to spikeweek.com, and this is free on the site. But what Jalen Royals was doing, if you take a look here, what Jalen Royals was doing in those first few games that he got to play before he got injured, 55 in over the course of 7 games, a couple of which were against. Now USC is not great, but he wasn't exactly at a big school, right? When you come from a small school and you're playing with shitty quarterback play, and you're playing up in competition, and you're clearly your teammates are not able to get open, USC is not great competition for a Big Ten schedule. USC is pretty tough competition for a Mountain West schedule, and so USC, right, is included in here. Utah is included in here. Temple is not great. Boise State made the college football playoff. UNLV probably was in the Mountain West Conference Championship game against Boise State, and those are 4 of the 7 games that he played, and he went 55 for 839 and 6 over that stretch. Against Boise, he went 9 for 211 and 2. He was going to have probably the best wide receiver season in the country. Yes, that includes Travis Hunter. Yes, that includes T-Mac. Yes, that includes, and pick your favorite college wide receiver. He was probably going to have the best, statistically the best season of any college wide receiver last year. He was completely and utterly dominant in many different ways. And as I show here, he did it all. 37% of his targets were short, so under 10 yards, but 27% were medium and 15% were deep. They also manufactured him touches. 21% were manufactured. He showed yak ability, right? 400 and something, like 430 yards of yak, give or take. 430 yards of yak, but also catching deep balls, right? Catching 18 balls further down the field out of his 55. He has a diverse route tree. He has been comped by Chiefs writers to Rashee Rice, and I think he can fit that role in a slight permutation of it. He's popped a little bit at camp already, and now he may get more opportunities during training camp to show what he can really do, maybe in the Rashee Rice role, so the team doesn't have to rely upon the Juju Smith-Schusters and the Noah Grays and stuff like that of the world to make this whole thing work until Rashee gets back. And then if he pops, he just becomes the third wide receiver once Rashee is back. This is my guy. This is my flag plant on the Rashee Rice situation. Jalen Royals. Like I said, I'm dabbling in the other guys. I got no problem. If anybody loves Worthy right now, I like Worthy as well. But the big flag plant for me is Jalen Royals, and I think he fits in all formats. He's a smash and cumulative because he might be a rookie who's coming out of the gates with a real role. Now, might be. It's not a lock. But in the playoff formats, he also has that potential early season role. And he has, now he can get this runway to take off. Right? Usually the rookie is like this slow. Even like Amon-Ra St. Brown as a rookie was he was playing, but he wasn't really doing anything. And he wasn't like a focal point of the offense. And then you saw him take off at the end of the season. We have potential for Jalen Royals in a Patrick Mahomes offense without Rashee Rice, with an aging Travis Kelce, with Juju Smith-Schuster, and aging Hollywood Brown to step in and show what he can do. And you could just get a straight fantasy smash from the jump, but also he can continue that on into the playoffs because he is this youthful rookie who can establish himself and then continue to build upon it in the fantasy playoffs. So there's your Rashee Rice take. Let's go ahead and do some drafting, shall we? Permissions. What the hell? Oh, I might want to let's flip back over here. I might need some money in my account, huh? We withdrew. We had a big summer league. We had a big summer league we were betting on the summer league last night, and we had a nice big summer league night. So we took that out. It was very fun. What the hell just happened? This is phenomenal podcasting here, let me tell you. Now the DK app is not cooperating, but look at these. Well, take a look at these beautiful Jalen Royals numbers while I do this. Okay. Let's get on in this DK Millie. I told you that I mentioned at the, I think we only need two. At the start that I erroneously posted on the tweet announcing this morning's stream that I would do a drafters draft, but I think it is only wise to make sure that everybody gets as many shots. If we're going to sit here and we're all going to draft together and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, let's at least try to get to our 9 or 3 or 6 or whatever. Let's get to our free tickets on DraftKings because it's only good for today. And I mean, a free ticket for every 3 teams seems pretty goddamn good to me. Are you bumping up Worthy in your ranks? I am. Been pretty mediocre on Worthy thus far. I am going to bump him up a little bit. Obviously talked about Royals there. Let's see. Let's get through some more of these. Do they put, even if he isn't suspended for the beginning of the season, will he be allowed to travel internationally? Do they play internationally? I really don't. I feel like we got information this offseason that his case wouldn't be settled this year. Is that correct? That is correct. So it's not like we got information from his lawyers or from the judge or the prosecutors or anything like that. We got quote unquote legal experts that are around the game of football that honestly, it's easy to make fun, fantasy people. I've learned in the last 24 hours or so that the fantasy industry, specifically best ball, sure does love to try to dunk on other people. The toxicity, we got to let that stuff go. We're all playing a silly game. Let's have some fun. And so people love to, those stupid lawyers, LOL, Twitter lawyers. And hey, you chose to use their information, not the it's not the other way around. But they've actually been really good in like all of these situations. They've been excellent. I found them to be a really good resource. And all they did was report facts. That it was incredibly unlikely, given everything that we knew and given where the situation was in the legal process, that he wasn't going to go to a trial or anything like that, and thus wasn't going to get charged, and then thus wasn't going to get suspended until next season. And I don't think that was wrong. I think that was absolutely 100% correct. So this was right? He took a plea out of nowhere. No one, you can't. That's not predictable. It's like predicting the weather for week 17 today. Sure, I can guess it's probably going to be cold, but how cold? Is it going to snow? Is it going to be windy? Is it going to be this? Good luck. You can't predict the unpredictable. So what can you do? We roll with the punches and we keep on moving. I don't feel bad at all. Certainly when Rashee was really cheap to start the season, like 3-4 turn, like, come on. Clearly, we all believe in closing line value. We all believe in, getting the best prices. We all believe in getting the right, like, even better combinations of players because of said closing line value. We can't also then say, "Oh, see, you were stupid for drafting Rashee Rice." He rose up to like the top 20. Like, what can you do? I don't feel bad about that at all. Let's see. We're all experts, so nobody is. 100%. They play the Chargers in Brazil. Got it. Yeah, it's a great question. We'll do a little Malik Neighbors action. Shout out Sizzle. If Erik wins the 2 million, I'll be up there with him because I'm riding his picks. We'll see how that goes. But dude, other than Rice, the Rice situation is not awesome. The Rice teams, but this is the other thing that I think it took me a long time to figure this part out too. That you win money because of all right, Neighbors BTJ. It is. God, I can't believe you can get Neighbors BTJ so easily on DraftKings. Just an absolute cheat code. You win in best ball with your entire season is decided by your singular best team. One. So if the Rashee teams had to take a ding for the Jalen Royals or the Xavier Worthy or the Hollywood Browns or the Travis Kelce's or the Isaiah Pacheco's or Kareem Hunt, whatever your flavor is. If the Rashee Rice teams had to take a ding, like those are not dead and these other ones got better, that's great. Like it's a net positive for me, even though I'm well overweight Rashee Rice. This is like a genuinely probably a net positive for me because you'll see what my Jalen Royals exposure is, and it's quite empty. So like, I feel good. I feel This is how everyone should. You're going to lose teams. You can't save every one of them. You build them all hoping that they are the winner, and thus that's the way that I write the whole draft like you're right. And this team tells a certain story, and some of the stories was Rashee Rice is a second round smash, and some of them now are that Hollywood Brown and Jalen Royals and Xavier Worthy are smashes. And that's great. It worked out. 4 to 6 games was always on the table for Rice, injury, suspension, or otherwise. Yeah, on the table. Technically, anything's on the table. So like, here's what I'll say about that. The injury thing, people are still misreporting the injury. People keep saying torn ACL. He did not tear. He did not blow out his knee. It feels like he did because he missed the whole season. And it was a knee injury. He was already like essentially practicing months ago, running routes, full speed, all that kind of stuff. The injury stuff is like gone. There's zero reports that there's anything wrong with him health-wise. So if you were fading for it because of injury, I think you didn't research the injury and didn't follow the news. And it happens. I've made plenty of those mistakes. Like, he was healthy. He did not blow out his knee like many of these other players did. He certainly didn't tear his Achilles like every goddamn NBA player has done for the last few months. He was fine health-wise. And then the most likely scenario, anything was on the table, as Peppertoni says, but the most likely scenario was he wasn't going to get suspended this year. Like, overwhelmingly the only path to this happening was what happened. If the legal process played out, he wasn't going to get suspended this year, and he was going to be playing week 1 because he's healthy, because he's already been practicing. So, like, there's always risk. Anyone can get hurt. Anyone can do something stupid, as we've just now seen with Quinshon Judkins and many other players. Second-round picks can stand up and revolt against the NFL and then sort of back down, and it's chaos. We're already in straight best ball chaos mode. Speaking of, there's Rashee Rice at the top. There's Terry McLaurin at the top. I'm going to do Mike Evans, though. I am buying some of the Terry McLaurin dip. I don't imagine that this contract thing is going to be a major problem. But you see, I only have 5% Mike Evans, and I have almost no Mike Evans with these two. 5% Mike Evans with Malik Neighbors, 11% Mike Evans with Brian Thomas. So I want to bump those numbers up. Hollywood hasn't worked out. Hollywood hasn't worked out in many years. It's been a tough scene for the old Hollywood shares for quite a while. Yeah, we just got to stop complaining. I've spoken to someone who has definitely complained too much and definitely been too negative and definitely been too. I've made every mistake in the book. Uh, let's just draft some fucking fantasy football teams and have some fun, and stop trying to dunk on everybody else, and stop trying to start beef behind your fucking keyboard with your Cheeto fingers. Like, just stop, please. I'm actually going to pass on George Kittle because I'm also trying to continue to keep drafting Amari and Hampton because what the fuck is going on with Najee Harris? Does he have an eye or not? Can someone tell me? Is there anyone in the Chargers facility that can specifically tell me if Najee Harris has one or two eyes? I need to know because they're not talking about it. And I would love for them to talk about it. Yeah, exactly. And I take it too serious, Max says. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun playing basketball, and two-parter, if the fun for you is talking shit to other people and like dunking on their takes, I think you should seek therapy. I think you should go to therapy. And if you're not having fun because you're being so negative and like constantly like bashing other people, I like to like engage in debate and argument as a means to get better and learn. But like engaging in the like dunking and all that kind of stuff is like, I think I think we've lost the plot here a little bit. And if you're not having fun doing this, then like this ain't the hobby for you. We're probably all gonna lose money. We're hoping not to, and we're hoping to win a lot of money. But the odds are, like, look what we just seen in the like. If you really liked Quinshon Judkins, you might have been right. And then look what he just did. If you liked Rashee Rice and you did all this and that, like, okay, oh man, he's such a smash. He's not gonna get suspended. He's healthy. The Chiefs are gonna pass more. All this whatever. Chiefs go bird. All this different stuff. And then he just takes a plea and slaps you right in the face. Right? You love Trey Harris. Now, granted, as the chat mentioned, Trey Harris has signed. So the second round picks are signed. RJ Harvey and Trey Harris have signed their second round contracts. So we are safe. This is a safe zone on our Trey Harris and RJ Harvey bags. Thank God. Now we need to get Travion signed here and Luther Burden signed here, and we'll be all good. But anything can happen. In the blink of an eye, shit changes. No pun intended. No pun intended. Blink of an eye, because Nolan says Hayden posted on Twitter that he saw Najee at the airport, no eye patch. I find that hard to believe, but there's no way Hayden leaves his house. So I doubt he was at the airport. But I love you, Hayden. That's like because I don't leave my house. That's because that's what we all do. We sit and watch football and talk about fucking fantasy football for a living. But yeah, does he? If he? But the no eye patch is interesting though. What if he has a glass eye already? Would you get a glass eye or wear an eye patch if you lost an eye? I don't know what the right answer to that is. Chuba at the top. What the hell? 43% Chuba with probably with Mike Evans. Yeah, 43% Chuba with Mike Evans is not good. Let's do Harvey since he signed. We're straight good vibing on RJ Harvey and the second round picks, signing some contracts. Are you familiar with the Larry Fitz at Boston Airport meme? No, I'm not. What about Chris says, what about a glass eye patch? Is it see-through glass or like stained glass, or does it have like some, is it glass eye patch with an eye, but with an eye like painted, like a church, like the background of a church? Yeah. No, or Sizzle says you go full Fetty Wap. No patch, no glass, just just a hole. Didn't Fetty Wap and Thor, didn't Thor just have a hole? Or did he eventually get a patch? I don't remember. Okay, if you guys are gonna let me do full-blown, it's Triple H Friday. It is Triple H Friday. Amari and Hampton in the 4th, RJ Harvey in the 5th. Travion Henderson in the 6th. It's a good day. It's a good day. Damn, I'm trying to catch back up to bang. Jenks didn't know it, but he was foreshadowing at 9:07 a.m. local time. He said it's Triple H Friday. And you're goddamn right, it's Triple H Friday. Triple H, we're giving away 3 tickets. And if you do 3 DK drafts, you get a free one. Happy Friday of 3s. You're telling me JPP takes 1 year off, and Najee is like, hold my eye. Okay, this phrasing, this doesn't sound like you think it sounds. I get what you did there, Self, but now pronounce that in a slightly different version, and I think you're going to get a slightly different meaning from that one. Oh, it's a great. This is my favorite. This is my this is my favorite show of the week. No offense to you guys for the Wednesdays and Thursday shows, but this is good. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good weekend. For baseball's back for all the baseball folks. I'm doing the Roto-Grinders baseball show tonight. We're doing this. Pat and I are recording a new podcast, and we are going to draft, I believe, high stakes teams today. I believe we're gonna do so. Be on the lookout for that. Trying to get Pat pinned down is like what's something that's like difficult to like catch or difficult to pin down or something. You're trying to catch a fish. You know, someone tosses you a fish right out of the ocean and you try to catch it. That's what it's like trying to get Pat Kareem pinned down to times. But we're gonna do it. Whew. Greased pig. There we go. Raccoon. Greased pig. I think greased pig is trying to give a cat a bath. I don't have any cats, but it's miserable trying to give our dogs a bath. So I'm with this. Wrangling a herd of cats. Greased pig is definitely the winner. Dad says Mason Taylor. Live breaking news. Your Mason Taylor bags are not dead. He has signed. Oh, whew. Got a Triple H and a wonderful Friday morning. God damn. So Rice is getting 3 games. There we go. It's the Friday of 3s. Just announced the 3-game suspension already, and it'll be a really good Friday. Quid Pro Quo says, I have a friend with a glass eye back in our college years. So the places Jesus Christ. The places that thing ended up getting in would make some strippers blush. Oh, God. Should we do the straight rookie running back room? Caleb? Take the fall on Caleb and just get the rookie running back room here? This is the rookie running back draft. Peppertoni said Kelce went at 76. Good Lord. I mean, Hawkinson at 75 is rich too, but Kelce at 76, man. Good Lord. Was it you? No. It's easy something. This feels like an early draft, says Sizzle. Max says, what are the odds Rice gets through his 5 years of probation without any incidents? Dude is a trouble magnet. Yeah. I don't tend to like to bet on people who constantly get in trouble not getting in trouble. So Do I do the Baker thing? I'm pretty good at running back. I do have 3 good wide receivers. We're gonna probably punt tight end here. Sure. 3% Baker. I have him with Evans at a decent clip, of course, because we stack our quarterbacks with our wide receivers, but I don't really have Baker. It was like 5% across the board with all these with Neighbors, BTJ, Hampton, etc. So I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty cool getting a little bit of Baker exposure here. I don't take a ton of Baker because while I think I'm like interested in Baker this year, I like the Bucks offense quite a bit. It's just like he is at the front of a tier. I pick 87, pick 85 or whatever. He is at the front of a tier where I like all the guys cheaper than him. I'm not saying I like them as much as I like Baker, but I mean it's pretty darn close. I like them a lot. So it's hard to take the guy that's the most expensive. He also is a guy who goes next to a bunch. Once we get to the next tier of quarterbacks, like kind of like Kyler and after, you start to get into where like I don't really love the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, closer to pick 100. Whereas at pick 85, there's still, particularly at wide receiver, but a little bit at running back, there's still some guys I like quite a bit. This is the way. Speaking of dogs, how is your dog doing? Great. Wonderful. These dogs are resilient. Run into some stomach issues every so often that can be a little scary from time to time, but they get themselves into themselves into some mischief. But we're all good, luckily. Yeah, I'm with you. Jason says I can't help but feel like we're chasing with Baker. I'm totally with you. I don't suspect we're gonna get, not certainly probably not the same season, but I think the reason why I'm still going to take some Baker, I think you said I have 3% Baker, so this is not a priority of my portfolio, but I'm also not fading Baker stacks because on a weekly basis, I think their defense has gotten worse. I think they're going to have to score points to win, and they've loaded up on the offense. Drafting Emeka Buka in the first round, drafting Jalen McMillan last year, bringing back Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is still there. We know Bucky is a stud. Kate Otten is fine as a tight end. Rachaad White, Sean Tucker is a really good third back on an offense. They just have offensive upside every single week. So even if Baker, we look back and we're like, oh man, I drafted Baker as the QB, 7, and he was the QB 9 or 10, he's still going to have some of those spikes where, like, I don't think you're going to be mad that you drafted some Baker Mayfield, assuming he stays healthy, right? Assuming the Bucks all stay healthy. But we're definitely chasing. I'll tell you that. The one really, really awesome season from Baker happened last year. We moved him up in price, but I think that's more of a how much exposure do you get? How much exposure do you get? For me, that's how I'm handling it, as opposed to like just be, oh, he's going to regress. You can't take any of that, guys. Like, really? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, first round wide receiver, talented third round wide receiver from last year, really good offense, bad defense. I don't know. I don't think I want that to be as. I don't think fading Baker stacks is an edge. I think not going overboard on Baker stacks because he was good last year is probably an edge. But that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Yeah, this is my take. Who is chaperoning your 4 rookie running backs? So this is how I generally approach it. I don't worry too much about it. The stud rookies, it's not like they're not going to play. Like if I run into a spot where I can take a Javante or something like that, sure. I'm open. But I just kind of like him. Or take Dobbins with like I straight up might take Dobbins here. So here's your chaperone. I'll take Dobbins with Harvey. Basically just lock in that Broncos backfield, and now it's fine. I'm assuming Hampton, Henderson, Caleb, some combination of those guys are going to score points to start the season anyway. Sounds like the Bengals bet, but cheaper. Read the Bucks. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's a good take. Chris says, so is it bad if you started a draft with Rice and Jenkins? Asking for a friend, of course. Bad is just in the eye of the beholder. Okay. Am going to start needing some wide receivers. This is a unique 1-5-3 start, but it's kind of fun. I could do Bo Nix. I think I'm going to do Bo Nix and maybe kind of quasi onslaught the Broncos here. I have 3% Bo Nix. I don't have Bo Nix with any of these dudes. Any of my premier picks, you see nothing but zeros across the draft stacker. Zeros, straight zeros. And I do have the running backs. I just don't generally take Nix with those running backs, but let's try that out specifically because I'm not a big Marvin Mims guy, but Mims would be available to me, and I need wide receivers. Right, so here's how I'm thinking about it. Obviously, you saw from a portfolio perspective, I don't have Bo Nix with I don't have him with Neighbors, BTJ, Evans, Hampton, etc. I don't have him with Baker. I don't have him with really any of these guys. So I think it's a great place to fill in the gap with Bo Nix. I don't generally draft them with the running backs. So I would like to have Bo Nix with Harvey, Dobbins, both or one of the two of them in my portfolio. And then I've only drafted 3 wide receivers. I'm going to need some goddamn wide receivers and probably need some wide receivers late. If you've listened to these shows, 2 of my favorite in best ball, probably not redraft leagues, but 2 of my favorite in best ball late round wide receivers, 3 of them, frankly, are Broncos. Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, Devon Vele, I think are all very good late round wide receiver picks. Pat Bryant, notably not a second round pick, third round pick. So we don't have to worry about that. Troy Franklin, a 4th round pick from last year. Devon Vele, the oldest second year wide receiver in the history of mankind, but was the talk of the Broncos camp. I like the Broncos. I like Bo Nix. I like this offense. And I have 3, some combination of those guys are going to play a lot. And so if I like those late round wide receivers, are back to front drafting, thinking about the fact that I like those Broncos back there. Well, even though you don't love Bo Nix and you don't necessarily love taking him on this team, this is probably a good one to draft him onto. I think you can easily advance with those 4 rookie running backs as your main guys. Slightly lower scoring early with some big spikes late. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we not in this example. I think it's a very reasonable question to ask about the early season production with these rookies. But I think the collective fantasy football, specifically best ball, our little niche, has probably gotten out over our skis a little bit on the like nowadays. Have we been paying attention to the last couple of seasons? Technically, it could be a glitch in the matrix for a couple of years, but like rookies are coming out of the gates swinging, brother. Like these guys are starting day one, tight ends even. Sam Laporta's playing every snap in his first NFL game, just full-blown starting tight end for an awesome Detroit Lions team, right? Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers. We see what, the superstar wide receivers can do. The Malik Neighbors walks into week 1, and it's just an absolute stud. Last year, we didn't really have any good rookie running backs, so we can't. But these rookies are just stepping in right away and playing because the teams kind of need them to. They're drafting them as if they are a very significant part of their offense from the jump. Let's do Tucker. Let's do a little Tucker Kraft. Kick off the tight end room with some Tucker Kraft. This would be fun because I'm going to get to draft a bunch of these mid to late round wide receivers that I really don't ever take. So we're going to see a lot of low exposure on the old draft hacker here in a minute because I don't take a lot of the round 12 to 16 wide receivers. That's running back zone for me, and tight end and quarterback and such. I could double dip. I could take Likely. I could take Burden. I think Burden is probably the right answer here. Buy this Luther. I mean, Luther Burden in the 130s is just crazy. And a good way to. I'm not like behind at wide receiver, but sort of. Right, it started Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Mike Evans. I'm not like behind at wide receiver, but I need some volume, so an upside swing. It's like you're in the weird spot where you're pretty solid at wide receiver to start the season, so Burden fits alongside that, but you do also need to build out some depth and build out a 8 to 9 person wide receiver room. See, I'm not so big on Jalen McMillan. Max says Bryant and McMillan are nice stacking upside wide receivers for this team. I'm not so big on Jalen McMillan. The Bucs just kind of told us. They were like, yeah, we know you caught 8 touchdowns last year, but you really didn't do anything else. And we're going to bring Chris Godwin back, and then we're going to draft our wide receiver in the first round. So, like, where does Jalen McMillan fit exactly? Other than standing and watching for most of the game? Maybe playing some special teams? Hope he's been practicing his punt gunner skills, working out with J-Mo and Ricky White and such. J-Mo, notably elite gunner on the punt team at Alabama. That's how you know he's got that dog in him. But Jalen McMillan is like a contingent value wide receiver, which is not nothing. But I feel like we're paying up for his contingent value wide receiver just because he caught some touchdowns last year. Whereas we have other contingent value wide receivers that go in like the last round. So that's my struggle with Jalen McMillan. Let's recap the team really quickly. Through 12 rounds, this team is fun. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. It's the Friday of threes, the Friday of Triple H, the Friday of DraftKings giveaways and Spike Week giveaways. Malik Neighbors at the 110, Brian Thomas Jr. God, that's beautiful. Mike Evans in the third round, fill a little portfolio gap for me. And then we got Triple H time. Hampton, Harvey, Henderson. Added even another rookie running back, Caleb Johnson, Baker Mayfield, J.K. Dobbins, who I just love. Also Chaperone. Also talked about drafting Dobbins with Harvey, which I actually quite like. Took Bo Nix. We talked about that. Rewind a little bit if you want to listen to why Bo Nix made a lot of sense for me on this team. Tucker Kraft, don't have a tight end yet. I love me some Tucker Kraft to pick 130, especially as a tight end 1. And then Luther Burden. So we are two quarterbacks. Hold on. 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and a tight end. I'll probably turn this into 3 tight end team. 7. The target here is probably I'm done at quarterback. 2, 7, 8, 3 is the target for me here. Yeah, Koala Quantum, phenomenal name, phenomenal. Avi says that Dobbins in the 17th, 18th round was egregious on underdog, and I'm egregious for not having taken advantage of it more. Very stupid. Not happy about it. Very dumb by me. There is McMillan, of course. Let's do Brenton Strange. I have Brian Thomas. Let's build out a little secondary Jag stack. So I'm going to have Broncos. I'm going to have Bucks. Let's build out a little secondary Jaguar stack here. Who is scoring more fantasy points, Mixon or Connor? I'm going to go James Conner. Algier goes, Dobbs goes. Wandale goes. All right, sweet. I was hoping to get Dylan Sampson onto this team. I'm scooping about as much Dylan Sampson in this range as I can. If all of a sudden Judkins reports, it's all good, no suspension, no nothing with Judkins, this is fine to me. I'm not going to regret 14th round Dylan Sampson, probably even 13th round Dylan Sampson. Though Algier is kind of my cutoff. I love me some Tyler Algier, but I'm not going to regret, pick 150 or so, Dylan Sampson, even if, the whole Judkins thing is a no biggie. But I will regret not taking more Dylan Sampson at pick 150 because shucks, he used to go at pick 190 and now I got to take him at pick 150. And I like him at pick 157, but not at pick 150. Like, I will regret over analyzing the Dylan Sampson situation. It's very binary, and it's actually kind of positive on both sides of the binary equation. Worst case scenario, you got the Browns, 4th round rookie backup running back. Oh no, he's still an injury away, just like every other running back that we draft right here is essentially an injury away. And the best case scenario is, congratulations, you just got the Browns starting running back who's a pretty talented young rookie at pick 150. So we talked about this on Wednesday, similar to the Jalen Royals thing. These guys are smashing targets for me right now. I will let the market be scared of paying $2 or $3 in their auction instead of $1. That's fine. But yeah, the Dobbins price was egregious on Underdog. I'm an idiot. I barely took him. It was just a bad read. Bad read by me. I kind of thought, and I don't think it was like a terrible read of the contractual situation. If you recall, I think we talked about this on one of the shows weeks and weeks ago. Like, it didn't make a lot of sense for another team to swoop in and pay him what the Broncos have paid him. He basically had to make, $5+ million this year for it to make sense for him to not leave the Chargers. And if he didn't leave the Chargers, if he was the RB3 on the Chargers, I'm like, I know he was good last year, but how they drafted a 1st round running back and they signed Najee Harris. What's the path to Dobbins helping me in best ball? So I really thought the most likely scenario was he still ended up back in with the Chargers because of the tender that they placed on him. But the Broncos said, pump the brakes, dum-dum. We want this guy, and we want him bad. So we're going to pay him. And so good for J.K. Dobbins. He got paid. I didn't see it coming, but Sean Payton, he loves his running backs. Almost back on the clock in the 15th, and then, as you mentioned, when we get to the end of this draft, we'll fire up another one. God damn it, who just did that? The hero. I didn't think he was going to get back to me, but that was the dream. The dream was to close out and Braylon too. Damn, man. Gesicki's a nice consolation prize. The Gesicki price on DraftKings is just horrible. Yeah, I wasn't getting Shipley. Kind of figured I wasn't getting Shipley, but nonetheless, a boy can dream. A boy can dream. Amen. I think McMillan still has paths to being very relevant, though. Godwin or Evans injured. Yeah, he has paths. Mm-hmm. He definitely has paths. There's just a lot of guys have paths. And I'm like, if we're talking about chasing, I think we're paying up for a wide receiver 4 in Jalen McMillan, which is what he is. I'm going to take Pat Bryant here to go to our Broncos type stuff that we were talking about before. Done at tight end, done at quarterback, one more running back, and a bunch of fun late round wide receivers. Kerrane just posted Keenan signing a one-day deal to retire with the Chargers. Kerrane did? Like Pat, did Kerrane give up on? Did Kerrane give up on? I don't see anything from. I don't see anything on Keenan. I was about to say I'm going to talk to him later today. He's going full Schefter, full Shams for the Chargers. He is out there, so it does. That would make sense. That would make sense. He's in the area. He's see, the best ball space is getting so toxic. Everybody is dunking on each other, and the victory lapping is out of control. And it's too toxic. So much so that the guy who won $3 million playing this silly game and started a company and built a career around giving fantasy football advice, it's like, fuck this. I'm going to go work for $30,000 a year on the Chargers beat and talk about Keenan Allen. That's where we are. It was a joke. I didn't see it. I try not to go on the. I post the, like, when we write a new article or launch a new feature or do a show, I post them on the Hellscape. But other than that, I try. I'm a very positive progression in my life is a more of a detachment from social media over the last year or so. It's been really nice. I gotta say, I was for sure addicted. Also, by the way, Jalen Royals going at the 16-4 in this draft. This is very funny. I kind of knew I wasn't going to get him. I was going to take him at the 202, which is his ADP is like he doesn't even get drafted in every DraftKings draft, which is egregious. He gets drafted in about as many underdog drafts as he gets drafted in DraftKings. Jalen Royals does. Terrible. Every time I'm on the clock in a late, I'm in one of the late rounds. I've just been taking him every single time, and just egregious. Spec Week Discord is the only social media. It really, group messages, group messages with friends and stuff, and the Spike Week Discord. Like, I use the other social media platforms and stuff, but I used to, like a lot of people, I for sure was like addicted. I always make the, and this apparently is like people say it's not crazy, but I was the guy. Like, you go to get groceries or whatever, and you're like, well, there's one person in line in front of me. Better check Twitter and see what's going on. Better check Instagram. Better check whatever. And it's like, did those 12 seconds before you walked up to the cash register have to be on? Did you have to spend every waking pause in your life on social media? And like, I just had like this revelation of like, dude, this is not great. Like, you got to get it together, man. I don't have a chief, correct? So let's do Brashard Smith, final running back, another rookie, by the way. Bring back to the dude. This is the sickest rookie running back room you've ever seen in your entire life, alongside J.K. Dobbins. Hampton, Harvey, Henderson, Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, Brashard Smith. People are going to hate it. I'm just tossing gasoline on the toxic best ball world fire. Now we get to close with some wide receivers. Okay, let's do this. Let's go ahead and go get Vele. And let's queue up Franklin. I really did want Royals, you sons of. And then see how this goes. Yes, I am willing to take all three of the Broncos wide receivers. I don't know that I will take Troy Franklin, but I wanted to put him in there as a fail-safe. Yeah, I do think that Matt says Dobbins is the lone chaperone in this one, and I like it. If Omarion Hampton, the 22nd overall pick in the NFL draft, is that right? If Omarion Hampton needs a chaperone, like, come on, man. We don't got to chaperone everybody just because there's levels to rookies. There's levels to the kids on the field trip. The advanced kids or the older kids don't need as much hand holding as certain other kids do. Omarion Hampton does not need the level of chaperone or a chaperone at all, given his draft capital, given the team that he's on, given the fact that we're not entirely sure if his backup has 2 eyes or 1. I think it's okay to not assume you need a chaperone from your 4th round pick who was a 1st round pick in the NFL draft. Now, Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, somewhat Travion and Harvey for sure. So Dobbins fits that role. But like there's levels and context and nuance to rookie, right? Just like there's context to quarterback and tight ends. Like when people say draft this many of this position, like we need to apply context to it. We need to apply context to Omarion Hampton should not be treated the same way as Brashard Smith. You know? Don't you know you're supposed to go bankrupt chasing another best ball win after you hit your first one? These D-gens are slacking. That's the DFS world. That's where I came from. I've seen many for, brother, more than a decade now. I can't believe it's been this long. More than a decade of that's like truly. If I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second. I'm not the world. I was never even remotely in the same stratosphere as all the really, really good DFS players. Definitely, am not now. Now, I'm never going to claim to be the best ball player of all. I'm never going to claim to be the best gambler of all time. None of that different stuff. But you never saw me. I didn't go anywhere. I'm still here. I didn't go broke. I didn't fade away into obscurity because I won a live final and pissed it all away. I didn't. It's crazy how often that happened over the course of like the last 10 years or so. The amount of site pops up and then site goes away. Because guy wins a couple of tournaments and starts a YouTube channel and whatever, and then eventually, they fade away. It's hard to sustain yourself on winning at gambling. It is. It's hard. I love it. Jamie says, been here. Jamie, are you well, you mentioned FanDuel, so you can't be related to Jason Robbins, but day one FanDuel and DraftKings. I was not day one DraftKings. Let me think about this. Let's do the Broncos thing. Let's do all of them. Yeah. I started on FanDuel and I just got my teeth kicked in for months. just donating at the beginning of the FanDuel days. Oh my God. So many entries into the Sunday Million that were just I should have wiped the amount of things I could have bought for all those $25 Sunday Million entries. God. Royals got to be the same bet as Bryant. Pretty close. I think it's a pretty good comp. All right. I don't know if he just went, so I wasn't paying attention. Now I'm going to go get my current favorite last round wide receiver du jour, Jermaine Burton of the Cincinnati Bengals onto this team. So let's run it down real quick and then pop into another. So we can get 2 out of 3 done here in our, what do you want to call it? 3-day? Friday 3-day? I don't know. Somebody come up with a much more clever name. Neighbors, BTJ, Evans, Triple H, Hampton Harvey Henderson, Caleb Johnson. This team rocks. Rookie running backs galore, Triple H, Baker Mayfield stacked with Mike Evans, J.K. Dobbins holding the hands of all the little kids. J.K. Dobbins is holding all of their hands on the way up to about week 8. Bo Nix, Tucker Kraft, Luther Burden, Brenton Strange, Dylan Sampson, Mike Gesicki. Pretty good tight end room, honestly, for a kind of air quotes late 3 tight end, Kraft, Strange, and Gesicki. Pat Bryant, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin. So we're loaded up on the Broncos, right? Somebody needs to pop. Brashard Smith is my last running back, who also happens to play the Broncos in week 17. And then took Jermaine Burton. You saw that I have Mike Gesicki there. I love to attach not just the secondary correlations, but these kinds of guys where if Chase misses time, if Higgins misses time, I don't have Burrow on this team, so I don't really care if the Bengals offense takes a hit. I care if Mike Gesicki and Jermaine Burton get boosts. So, Chase misses time, T misses time, Yoshi, whatever. One of these guys misses time, I benefit from with 2 players, not just one, right? 2 birds, 1 stone, 1 injury, 2 girls, 1. Nope. Stop with that one. 3 free day, 3 free day, 3 free. Just doesn't roll off the tongue. You're on to something, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue. And we got the 110 again. Had the 110 last draft. FanDuel chat. Oh man. Phone shitter. Making lineups on Sunday mornings in the Sunday Million on my phone on the shitter. Yep. MLB on FanDuel. The one thing that cracks me up about DFS, and I just discovered that, is the top guys selling lineups. I was blown away. I've went DGen in plenty of other avenues, so I decided why not try best ball, says Chris. The fact that you like Burton as much as I do makes me feel a lot better about my 15% of him. I like the there's a bunch of late round wide receivers that I think are pretty awesome bets, and a lot of them were guys that I took 2 of them on this team. Devon Vele was not one. Troy Franklin and Jermaine Burton, second-year players that we were excited about last year. That's like there is no real such thing as a cheat code, even though we use those catchphrases for farming of engagement in this space. But it feels a little bit that way, where everybody, again, air quotes, the royal everybody, was interested or excited about these guys just last year, whether as prospects, the landing spot, both, all that stuff. And then after one down year, we give up. And they go complete. It's one thing to give up and the guy goes, like Marvin Harrison goes from a first 1-2 turn pick to a 3rd round pick. That's like not fully giving up, right? He's still a top 15 wide receiver or whatever. But when we go from, I love this guy as a late round pick, to he's totally undraftable, when it's not like in Burton's case, he just, there's a lot of reasons as to why he didn't get on the field very much last year, but it's not like the guy in front of him just stole the job and you're like, oh shit, he definitely ain't ever gonna get on the field now. Like Yoshi was horrible. Andre Yoshivas, for anyone unaware, as we call him, Yoshi. Shout out to him. He helped us out a little bit last year, catching a bunch of touchdowns for our best ball bags, but he just ain't it. Maybe he gets better. Anything is possible, but I don't foresee him being a reason if Burton takes a step of keeping Burton off the field. He's also a home run hitter, and he also has contingent value. We were talking about Jalen McMillan earlier. If people like Jalen McMillan, Jermaine Burton is in the exact same situation, except he's on the Bengals. Maybe a more appealing prospect, depending upon your. I think they're both very different prospects. But right, I think these wide receiver 4s last year this happened, and I think we lose track of some of the late wide receivers with contingent value. Last year, this is one of the few things I did well last year. Cedric Tillman, I got on very heavy late. De'Ami Brown, I got on very heavy late. He was okay. Tillman worked out awesome. Parker Washington was quite good down the stretch. And you don't know how the contingent value is going to play out. Is it going to be trade? Is it going to be injury? Is it going to be the team sucks and they start playing the young guy? I don't know. But drafting those guys rather than drafting the like. Let's not do a. How about an Amon-Ra team? We just did Neighbors. Let's do Amon-Ra. I don't do much Amon-Ra. But Amon-Ra, Achane. Do a little something different here. Trying to get more Achane. Mainly on DraftKings. He's a better pick on DraftKings, but he really is. Achane, a better. Holy. OMG. Pulling up Tyreek, eh? Nico Tyreek, I like it. Oh, we got the Genty Henry guy. CMC, Bowers. And then we're into the RB Bros London with Puka. That's nice. Malik, Ty Felton. Shout out Tikasaurus in at the 102. Yeah, last year we were excited about Jawar and Kamani. Running backs can be a little bit different because running back is so like a lot of the times why we're excited about a running back is situation as much as talent. And both of these were 100% because of situation. Kamani Vidal was also, I was not excited about Kamani Vidal. I was excited about Jawar Jordan. Yeah. Let's go ahead and wipe that one from. We need an MIB flashy thing for all the Jawar takes. But we were excited about Kamani because it was Gus Edwards and what we thought was an injured corpse of J.K. Dobbins next to him. And Jawar was Dameon Pierce sucks and doesn't fit this scheme, and that is true. And Joe Mixon is old, and Jawar does kind of fit, and he was very productive, albeit a flawed prospect. He was very productive in college. And naturally, both of those things were absolute stone cold disasters and useless, but it was a lot about the situation, not just the player. Whereas definitely the situation with Burton and stuff is helpful, but it's also a lot about the player with Jermaine Burton and the prospect. Yeah, you guys know I like Malik. I'm cool with Ty Felton, Torrey Horton, another rookie. DeMad Bowler says, I love taking Burton with pick 240. Higgins hasn't exactly been healthy. That's also a great point. So we have the contingent value. T has been banged up before. A lot. And the T is focused on staying healthier. As if he would, like, has he ever not been focused on being healthy? Like, I don't get that there's a news, I don't remember if it's on Underdog or DraftKings or whatever. It's like T. Higgins is focused on staying healthy this year. It's like, was he not before? That doesn't seem good. It took him 5 years in the NFL to be like, maybe I should care about playing and being healthy. Like, I would hope that he cared about it before, not just now. That just speaks to his mental capacity, which now I'm concerned about some. So now you're telling me that he's going to stay healthy. Now I have some other very real concerns. If he's just now worried about staying healthy, auto draft would be back on the clock. Auto draft would be Rashee Rice is like the most evergreen shit of all time. We're going to make this a Hampton team too. Let's pull him up. Oh, damn. I should have done Brees first, I think. But he might have taken Brees. All right. Let's do Kittle. I don't like this late tight end stuff. Let's get the elite. Let's get the elite tight end. Amon-Ra, Achane, Hampton, Kittle. That is a very unique start for me. Yeah, exactly. Players famously start caring about being healthy only after they get paid. Yeah, that is the time. The money is there. That's when they care about being healthy. Weird. Let's see. Gotta keep my Tyreek exposure over 50%, says OMG. Respect, sir. Good luck to you this season. This is like when they when you sit down at or you stand at the roulette wheel. Place your chips down. They toss the ball. No more bets. Good luck. Good luck. We're at that stage. You put all your money on a number. It's a scary number. And I just did the no more bets. Good luck. Good luck. That's your Tyreek exposure. Oh, you meant, so is Arian Smith any good? And you also, is Anais Smith any good? No. Is Arian Smith any good? No. It's basically the most open receiving room in the league, but no one's taking him, so I guess he's not good. Speaking of players famously start caring about being healthy only after wide receivers famously most important skill, catching the ball, famously for wide receivers. If you like Google Arian Smith or like Arian Smith prospect profile or Arian Smith anything, like just do it. It's all about how he can't catch. He's really fast. He's really fast, but he can't catch. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't drafted Arian Smith. I think he stinks at football, but he is very fast. He's very explosive. Someone give Waddle 100 million so he stops dying. Stops dying out there. I agreed. I'm sick of watching him waddle. I enjoy the Waddle touchdown celebration. I don't enjoy the waddling to the sideline in the second quarter of every goddamn game and just being like, well, he goes 3 for 40 in the first quarter, and in the second quarter, he's walking to the locker room every fucking week, man. God. Painful. Dude, this Laporta price is terrible on DraftKings. He does fall a lot. Rice at 47. There's a I didn't see where Rice went in the last draft, but Tikasaurus takes Rice there. Let's do oof. Oof, oof, oof. This is why you take early wide receivers. We're going to make this the Triple H show. Double Triple H. Double Triple H. But we're going to have some fun. Triple H. Chase got Rice round 5. Thank you. Nolan said Rashee went 49 the last draft. We're going to do double Triple H day. It's a happy, wonderful Friday, but some very different Triple H teams. Amon-Ra, through 6 rounds, I have one wide receiver. Amon-Ra, Achane, Hampton, Kittle, Henderson, Harvey. We're having some fun over here on DraftKings.com. I will say, I feel rather uncomfortable. I'm sweating. Palms are sweaty. Knees weak. Arms are heavy. No vomit or spaghetti or anything, but I feel very uncomfortable with the lack of wide receivers. However, something I've been forcing myself to do in the triple do another DK million, shoot for a triple H on triples day, says Tikasaurus. I've been, not to this extent, of course, but I've been doing on DraftKings more early running back, like however you want to define early running back, taking like a hero running back or taking a hero and then taking one of these rookies, maybe not all 3, but I can't pass on the Triple H on the show. It's too fun. Doing an Achane, doing a Jonathan Taylor, sprinkling Bucky, sprinkling Chase Brown, taking Jahmyr Gibbs, taking Ashton Genty, taking whatever, taking an early running back, because the wide receivers that are available, like if we look at the draft board here, specifically, let's call it, so Worthy goes earlier in this draft because you guys are in here. OMG is in here. Worthy, obviously Evans, DJ Moore, Jameson Williams, T-Mac. Now Rashee is going to be in that equation. Devontae Smith, George Pickens, Jalen Waddle, Zay Flowers, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, Travis Hunter. Kind of through Hunter or Zay or whatever you want to call the cutoff. there's so many good wide receivers in the 4th and 5th round. There's so many good wide receivers at good prices that I can still get a loaded wide receiver room and kind of have my cake and eat it too. I could have running. I feel okay taking 2 detours at running back, quarterback, tight end, more so than I have in the past. And I think it's probably just a flaw of me in the past on DraftKings. This is a little excessive, but it goes to show like I'm willing to try out some of these things that honestly historically I probably would not have been willing to try out. And then frankly, I do genuinely like this wide receiver range. So I'm not going to, let's do Matthew Golden, swing for the rookie upside here. If Jaden Reed doesn't go here, you can do the Packers thing. There's Downs does go, Diggs does go, but this range is good. I mean, Godwin at 75, come on. Pearsall, I don't love Jerry Jeudy so much, but I think it's fair in this, at pick 80. Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Darnell Mooney. I could set up Ibuka. What do I want to do here? Baker won't come back. I could do Love. Let's do Mooney. I want to set up more quarterbacks. I would most of the time as OMG snap calls Ibuka. Full disclosure, I'm fading Cooper Kupp this year, and instead of doing Jaden Reed and being like strapped to Jordan Love, I can always get Kraft or Dobbs or something like that later if I want to take another Packer and I do get Jordan Love. But taking Darnell Mooney to give myself outs to another quarterback. And Ibuka, I love, but Baker's already gone off the board. So given the fact that, I have George Kittle, which gives me outs to Purdy. I have outs to Goff, and then Love. Just give me another, right? When doing a tiebreaker from Mooney, Ibuka, Jaden Reed, give me the guy that I can get an extra quarterback out of. Amon-Ra has too much target competition. I guess. I don't really understand. It's not different than what it has been in the last couple of years. Well, I guess I won't be getting Hampton. I'm getting another hopping in another draft. I'm scooping all the Omari and Hampton shares. Versaire says, "Oh man, see this Happy Friday just keeps on rolling. Just keeps on rolling." Did you see the blurb on Jaden Blue? The coaches are calling him lazy. Is that for real? Cowboys rookies red flag. Jesus Christ. The Cowboys rookie red flags could be the reason he becomes phenomenal as a pro. What a fucking ridiculous article to write. Feel free to drop the blurb or something in the YouTube chat. What an absolutely ridiculous homer ass article. I'll check the Discord after we get done. That's too funny. Almost like the guy who got passed by every other running back teammate while he was at Texas, never took control of the backfield, no matter who got hurt. Almost like that guy had some serious red flags, and it's not just 4.3 40 go Burr. No way. Whoever could have guessed? Sorry. Jaden Blue is a big stand for me, so you have to forgive me. Jesus. I have 3% Jared Goff. I don't have him with basically anybody here. 5% with Hampton, 40% with Amon-Ra. I'm gonna take Purdy actually because I prefer him to Goff. If I end up double tapping, I'm happy to double tap here. Otherwise, I think a wide receiver is in the works. Given what I need, and my wide receivers being very sucky. Trey Harris time. Trey Harris time. This is the most fun I've ever had drafting best ball teams, I think. The Triple H, Trey Harris, getting all these guys. Got Dylan Sampson in the last draft. All that's missing is Will Shipley on these teams, but we're almost there. Jamie says, "Do we know if slow drafts worked for the DK promo today?" Yes. All you have to do is enter into. So I was about to say 9 drafts. You don't have to do 9, but if you do 3 drafts, for every 3 drafts you do, you will get a free ticket up to 9, meaning you can do 9 total drafts and get 3 total tickets for free. But you could enter 9 slows right now, and it will count. You don't have to do a fast draft. Need to see a draft with 0 stacking. Well, you ain't going to see it here because I believe in stacking. Brian 7, Caleb, or also nice Nico photo I see you have there. Caleb or Pollard PPR redraft. Pollard. Pollard for me. Mooney is one of my favorite clicks in the 100 range. Just feels like he's in a very concentrated offense, and he's a big play machine. Nice combo floor and ceiling IMO. I'm with you. Mooney was a guy who I was totally out on last year. Took 0 of. Was wrong. Wildly wrong. Can't get much more wrong. Very useful piece. I was cautious. Before the NFL draft, I was cautious about Darnell Mooney heading into this season. I didn't draft him in like the big board and stuff because it felt like they seemed like a team that could add something to the offense, but they spent literally every resource the Falcons had went to defense. And so from a skill player perspective, they didn't do anything on offense. They're not changing anything except it looks like Kadarius Hodge might beat out Ray McLeod for the wide receiver 3, but whatever, who cares? They're running it back. I know what I'm getting. He's particularly useful on builds like this where you might need some wide receiver production. I'm going to need to add some swings like a Trey Harris, like a Matthew Golden to the mix here. But speaking of chaperones, he can be a nice little chaperone to probably a bunch of rookie wide receivers that I'm going to take on this team. But he also has spike week upside. He's not Wandale or whatever. He's the wide receiver 2 on a potentially dynamic Falcons passing offense that now has Michael Penix. Last year we were excited when they got Kirk Cousins to draft these guys, and now we're excited still. London goes in the second round, and Mooney goes somewhere around pick 90 to 100. But it just feels like I know what I'm getting, and what I'm getting is pretty good, assuming health from everybody. I'm not getting a home run, but I could get a triple. You can get a triple with a good season and a perfectly timed spike week. You could get a triple. Maybe that's a home run? I don't know. Maybe you could get a home run. Okay, I think when Goff falls all the way back here, you're supposed to take him. So let's do Goff. See, this range is why. This is why you don't do the stupid wide receiver shit I did. But I'm going to take a lot of wide receivers on this team, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have some fun. Let's do Loveland. He's healthy. Loveland is healthy. He is on the opposite side. Granted, I have a Purdy Kittle stack with, as you see over here. Let's do the playoff view. Purdy Kittle double tight end. It's better than nothing. Goff, Amon-Ra, Purdy, Kittle, Hampton stacked with Trey Harris. That's it so far. Through 12 rounds. Amon-Ra St. Brown, boy, this is going to make me feel uncomfortable reading all these non-wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devon Achane, Amari and Hampton, George Kittle, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey. Through 6 rounds. Yes, you heard that correctly. 1 wide receiver. Matthew Golden, Darnell Mooney, Brock Purdy, Trey Harris, Jared Goff, Colson Loveland. But this is an example. Yesterday, I think Versaire in the chat asked, like, what do you think you learned from some of these, types of drafts, like a robust running back draft or whatever, which is sort of essentially what this is, hero wide receiver team. Like, what do you think you learned from that type of thing? And what I learned is, like, I'm going to do it in a different way than other people are going to do a team like this, right? A robust team with the 3 rookie running backs, but Amon-Ra in the first round, George Kittle mixed in. Then what they would do, what most people would do with a robust running back type room is, they would have different running backs, of course, but then they would have drafted Kupp over Mooney. They probably would have drafted Kupp over Golden. They would have drafted Jerry Jeudy and Jacoby Myers and, those kinds of guys. And I'm not saying that all of those guys are bad on this team, but I'm going to draft it in a very different way. So I'm still getting, again, I'm able to have my cake and eat it too. They didn't add a tight end, so this is Pitt's season, right? God, let's just not. You notice, I don't even like to acknowledge that Kyle Pitts exists in the world. Dang, the Kyle Williams fall is pretty. I think I'm supposed to also take Kyle Williams on this team. Have Travion, right? Hampton. They got all. Look at these. The rookie Chargers running back, the rookie Chargers wide receiver, the rookie Patriots running back, the rookie Patriots wide receiver. Here's a guy who I'm trying to get more of. Xavier Legette, former first-round pick on the Panthers. Not particularly excited, but can be like a chaperone with upside. I feel like Legette could. He can help my Kyle Williams, Trey Harris, Matthew Golden along, but also he himself, like, because he's gonna play. Xavier Legette is gonna play. He's gonna run routes. He can help my rookies along while also being an upside swing himself, because he's a second-year player, former first-round pick. Wait, is 62% Pitts ownership too much, says Chris? About 61% too high, yep. Lundar says, I was behind, but the Baker combo, not sure if there are many teams I'd rather play in weeks. This is outstanding point from Lundar. Not sure there's many teams I'd rather play in weeks 15 through 17 than Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Miami. Totally agree. So even if, and we can't predict how good the defenses are, right, Erik? Don't you say that all the time? Yes, but that doesn't mean it can't be the cherry on top of these things. And when we're already intrigued by not just intrigued, we all think the Bucs offense is going to be good. It feels like chasing, because it probably is to a certain degree, regression, right? Regression monster comes for everyone, all that kind of fun stuff. But then you also do have this juicy back end schedule that is a nice feather in the cap of Baker. So I think there's just still more pros than cons for Baker stacks. I'm not drafting a ton. As you saw, I had 3% head on DraftKings heading into today. That's probably about what it is across 3 to 5%. Maybe I'll get that up a little bit, but nothing crazy. I don't think I drafted him once in Superflex kind of stuff. So I'm not going crazy, but I also think I would be wrong if we flipped over the cards, week 1, Thursday Night Football. You're like, all right, let's look at all my teams, and I had like no Baker. I think I would feel like that was a mistake. How much? I don't know. We'll see. We got a month and a half. I don't know where I'll land. 5%? Something like that? But 5% seems fine. The boomer version of this team has Ken Walker, Mixon, and Hollywood instead of Henderson, Harvey, and Loveland. That's a good take. I like that. Almost back up in the 15th. This isn't a good example. It always reminds me when people will say, like, I hate that team. I'm like, then did you just leave me, Shipley, or did he already go? OMG, did you just leave me, Shipley? Thank you. Much appreciated. I just figured I would call this out for full so everybody understands. When I say that I love Will Shipley, I have 60% on DraftKings. 6-0. Oh, thank you, sir. So he'll close out my wide receiver room. I just did Pat Bryant. Oh, Diami to the podium. Diami to the podium. Phenomenal pick on all teams, but definitely on this team. Yes. Is that like my Tyreek bet? It is, except your bet is in the 2nd and 3rd round, and mine is mostly around pick 200. So just a little different. So it's similar from a percentage basis. It's not similar from the price you paid and the price I paid. Back to I missed a wet ed on the Arian Smith. I shouldn't be so mean, even though I don't know how else to say he can't catch. Surprising that he was a 4th rounder. We had a bunch of that. We get it every year, but we definitely had a bunch of that this season in the NFL drafts where there were some guys that were like, wait, what? Like Woody Marks, Arian Smith, Chimere DK. I'm sure there's others that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head. Jack Besh, honestly, still was a little bit surprising in the 2nd round. Jack Besh, notably a 2nd rounder. You thought it was, oh, congratulations, you got Jack Besh. You got 2nd round draft capital. And then he's running behind Dante Thornton, and now they have the 2nd round. Like, hold on stuff. It's pretty funny. Arian Smith going in the 4th round is egregious. Going before all of these, going before literally the guys you mentioned, Royals, Io Manor, Horton. Drafting Arian Smith before those guys is egregious. I don't care. I don't care if it's me saying that I know more than an NFL team. Sometimes I do. Most of the time I do not. Sometimes I do. Spoiler alert, I knew that signing Deshaun Watson to that contract was the dumbest fucking thing that an NFL team has ever done in the history of football. Guess what happened? It was the dumbest fucking thing that an NFL team has ever done in the history of football. Sometimes we onlookers can be right. And we were right about the Deshaun Watson thing. And I feel pretty confident saying that there's going to be a better wide receiver after, this is not a hot take, after the Arian Smith pick, one of those rookies is going to be better. And I would absolutely rather have drafted Jalen Royals than Arian Smith onto my NFL team, and it's not fucking close. I would rather have a Ricky White than Arian Smith. Strictly Royals, Fannin, Jarquez Hunter, Taj Brooks. Yep. I'm with you. Do I have a 2nd tight end on this team? Who did I take? Oh, yeah. Loveland. Boy, we're just ripping wide receivers the rest of the way here. Do I have enough? Do I have enough chaperone, or do I take? Let's do Io Manor. Let's do I think Io Manor might start week 1 on the outside. Maybe that's a hot take, but I think he might start. So I think he might be the perfect. I just don't want to keep taking Darius Slayton to this degree. He's fine, but this is the real answer. Jalen Royals. through 18 rounds, so we got 2 more. And yes, I'm drafting 2 more wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, little hero wide receiver team. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devon Achane, Amarian Hampton, George Kittle, Travion Henderson, and RJ Harvey. Matthew Golden finally to get back on track with some wide receivers. Matthew Golden, Darnell Mooney. Then we stack Brock Purdy with George Kittle, Trey Harris, Jared Goff stacked with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Colston Loveland close out the tight end position. I'm pretty into Loveland. I think he's a sneaky with all the Burden stuff. Burden missing camp, Burden currently not under contract. Who knows what's going to happen with Luther Burden? I suspect all these guys are going to be signed here very quickly. But Burden is a little bit of a Charlie Kelly wild card. I think that's fair to say. Kyle Williams, Xavier Legette, close out running back with my 5th running back, Will Shipley, De'Ami Brown, Alec Iomanor, and Jalen Royals. So let's see what the wide receiver room is. Amon-Ra, Golden, Mooney, Trey Harris. We're what is it? Double Dutch? Is Double Dutch the one? Yeah, with the jump ropes where you go hop in and then hop out. Is that right? That's what we were doing. From dependable veteran to rookie back and forth here, though we stayed in a little bit longer and took Kyle Williams, Xavier Legette, De'Ami Brown, Iomanor, Jalen Royals, kind of combining rookie upside swings with just blending a room together is honestly, I find it to be very fun. Even this is how I can convince myself as a 0 RB bro to draft some teams I feel uncomfortable with, because I get to blend with a bunch of these wide receivers that I don't necessarily always take together, at least, even though I take a good chunk of these guys, specifically, Royals, De'Ami, etc. But I can put them together into a room with a whole bunch of them on the same team instead of just like 7 or 8 wide receivers on every team. If Royals can get on the field, he seems Freudian slip. He seems God, Grant says. I agree. I've heard a lot of people prefer the back half of the draft. Do you think the same? 100%. 100% prefer the back half of the draft specifically because of what I can get in the second round. I'm going to always get 2 superstars. I think on the, at the 101, like T. Higgins is just not the same thing as Brian Thomas Jr. or something, or Genty or Christian McCaffrey or whatever. Okay, hold on. Let's do another last round guy that's we talked about earlier, being like a post type sleeper. Jordan Whittington. I'm into him late at wide receiver. And then I got one more in the bag here. We'll see. But I prefer the back half because of what I can get in the second round. Also what I can get at the 3-4 turn. Also what I can get at the 5-6 turn. It's like kind of every step of the way. I like it a little bit better. 4-5 turn versus 3-4, 5-6 is up for debate because the 4-5 turn is really good as well, specifically on DraftKings. But I can also then take those second round guys and like pair them all up in different permutations. Do you want to do AJ Brown with Brian Thomas Jr.? Do you want to do Malik Neighbors with AJ Brown? Do you want to do Puka Nacua with Lab McConkey, with Brock Bowers, with Trey McBride, with my charger came unplugged from the wall, it appears here. Good thing I had it charged beforehand. Jesus, how much time? Yeah, damn. Learn something new. The other guy that I mentioned, my other rookie sleeper, Torrey Horton. Love me some Torrey Horton. Also, I think a fitting selection for this team. Is DK going to get the slot in Tennessee? Yeah, I think how the season plays out, or in how they want it to play out, is of course Ridley, Iomanor on the outside, DK in the slot. Tyler Lockett is going to have something to do with that, but I think it's over. I think it's over for Tyler Lockett. Pack fan, late to the party. GM. I was at the game he posterized Travis Hunter. Yeah, Io Manor was cooking. Io Manor was straight cooking. Now, I wish the rest of his career went that way, but it's possible that playing for Stanford and playing with Ashton Daniels at quarterback is what held him back. It's possible. So we'll see that from him this year. We'll see it from Emmett Mosley, who's a freshman at Stanford last year, who came on strong, really strong down the stretch, and he went to Texas. So Texas saw something in this kid. It's possible that Stanford was holding back Io Manor and Mosley, and we'll find that out here this upcoming season. So let's run down this team, and then we got to give away. By the way, we're giving away 3 free tickets to the Drafters main event. We will do the same next Friday. If you have joined and you did not get a chance to enter this week, this is your notification to remember next Wednesday. Join me at 10 a.m. Eastern. Join me at 10 a.m. Eastern next Wednesday. And all you'll have to do is submit a comment on one of the videos from next week, and I will enter you into this free ticket giveaway, of which we're going to do right now once I run down this team. We'll do the same thing next week. I got everybody's names. I just got to put them in the old wheel. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devon Achane, Amarian Hampton, George Kittle, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Matthew Golden, Darnell Mooney, Brock Purdy, Trey Harris, Jared Goff. So through those 11 rounds, we got our Lions stack, our 49er stack. We started to recover at wide receiver from the robust Triple H, bizarre, definitely a bizarre team with George Kittle, Colston Loveland, and then we got our guy Will Shipley in the 15th, but we started spraying and praying in the 13th round at wide receiver, and I like what we did. Kyle Williams, Xavier Legette, De'Ami Brown, Alec Manor, Jalen Royals, Jordan Whittington, and Torrey Horton. Almost said Torrey Hunter. I guess baseball on the brain. Like a bunch of rookies, but like rookies who could play early, some veterans, the De'Amis and the Legettes and the Moonies, and a lot of rookies, but also some potential, certainly upside swings with a lot of the rookies, but some potential early season production. I like it. I'm into it. Let's get get all you guys' names in to the wheel. And we're going to spin this sucker 3 times. If you're watching or you watch this later, all you got to do is contact me. Discord is the best place to contact me. If you contact me on Twitter or on Blue Sky or something, you can also leave a comment on this video if you win. And you would like, hey, Erik, it's me. I won. Because all I need to get you is I need to get your Drafters username. As soon as the show is over, if you win, send me your Drafters username from some way. Contact me, and we'll get you hooked up. Let's do spin number 1. STL Bree, 1 of 1. Pack fan, you're on there for sure. I know that you are. I put you in there this morning. Hold on, I'm going to write this down so that I don't forget. Because I don't want to have to go back to the video every time and remember it. I promise you're on there, Pack fan. Do you have to be here to win? No. If not this week, you should think about having at least one of the 3 of those commented. For those that commented and are watching live, that's what we've done in the past. So we'll mix and match. We've given away a bunch of tickets already this summer, and they've all been for live viewers. We're mixing it up a little bit and getting some because not everybody can watch live, right? So I will always be as 100% transparent as I possibly can. We want to reward the live viewers, but not everybody can watch at the time. 10 a.m. Eastern is not a time for everybody to be able to watch live. I want people to be able to come back and watch later, right? If you want to watch in the evenings or the afternoons or whatever, or you listen to the podcast version, which of course, if you like podcasts, go ahead, listen. There's a link to the podcast as well in the description. We want to make sure that everybody gets rewarded. So let's remove Bree there and spin the wheel again. See? I don't see me on there. I don't see me on there, says the Pack fan, and he wins. I know you're in the Discord. DM me, please, Pack fan. That's hilarious. Generals. Also generals, I know you're in multiple Discords that I am in. Contact me. You guys are on there. Would you guys quit doing this? I promise you're on there. I promise that you're on there. If you commented, you are on the wheel. I promise. Yeah, I promise I'm not. I promise I'm not rigging it for some anonymous person I've never met against some other anonymous person I've never met. I love you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. As I mentioned, be on the lookout. Probably tomorrow for a new episode of Legendary Sickos. Tonight for probable draft stream for myself and Corinne. Rob is going live on Sunday, and we'll be back next Wednesday for some more drafts, some more free ticket giveaways, and make sure to get in your DK drafts today. 9 drafts, 3 free tickets, 3 drafts, 1 free ticket, the day of threes. Happy Friday, GM, all that different stuff. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys just a little bit later. Peace, guys.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.